Hello guys, today we are going to do unit number 1 of the European Classical Literature. I hope you are doing well, so let's begin. So particularly this unit begins with the story of the Iliad. The main characters of the Homer's epic are as follows. First was the Achilles. Let's talk about him. He was the greatest Greek warrior. Secondly, he was the son of the Lord Theseus. And third, he controlled all the major part of the war as he played the central hero in the epic. Second is the Hector. He was the greatest prince of the Troy city and he was also a naval warrior like Achilles we studied. Majorly, he was the son of King Priam and Queen Hecuba. Thirdly, Agamemnon. He was the king of the Mycenae and he was the leader of the Greek army. Thirdly, he was the brother of Menelaus. Next, learn about the Priam. He was the king of the Troy and he had played a very well role of a father of Hector and Paris. He symbolizes a dignity and compassion in the life of the epic. Next is Paris. Paris was the prince of the Troy. He abducted the Helen and this was the major reason of the beginning of the Trojan War. Next is the Helen, who was the queen of the Sparta and wife of the Menelaus. Secondly, Patroclus, he was the closest companion of the Achilles. Next is the gods. There are so many gods like Zeus, Athena, Apollo, and many more. Basically, there was a Trojan War between the Greek and the city of Troy, and the people were also known as Achaeans. Okay, होता है इसमें कि जो पेरिस ऑफ द ट्रॉय होता है मीन्स ही वॉज द प्रिंस ऑफ द ट्रॉय सिटी. ओके, सो वो एब्डक्ट कर लेता है हेलेन को फ्रॉम हर हस्बैंड मेनेलस हु वॉज द किंग ऑफ द स्पार्टा. एंड फाइनली द वॉर टुक प्लेस विच वॉज नोन एज द ट्रोजन वॉर एंड its duration was 9 years. फाइनली जो ग्रीक आर्मी होती है वो क्राइस एक टाउन होता है दैट वॉज द एलिट ऑफ द ट्रॉय कैप्चर कर लेती है उसे. एंड देयरफॉर 2 ब्यूटीफुल मेडन्स होती है ट्रोजन की. वन वॉज क्राइसिस एंड सेकेंड वॉज ब्रेजिस. सो वो दोनों मेडन्स को एज अ वॉर ऑफ बूटी ले लेते हैं. दैट इज़ कंसिडर एज अ गिफ्ट दैट यू गेट फ्रॉम द वॉर. Agamemnon wins the Chrysis and Achilles wins the Brisas. And जो फादर होता है क्रिसिस का ही वॉज द priest of the god Apollo. सो ही प्रे करता है कि आप जो है ग्रीक्स को पनिश करो एंड फाइनली एक प्लेग ऑफ स्वीप आ जाती है ग्रीक आर्मी में दैट वीप्स अवे ऑल द आर्मी. And that finally when the Agamemnon learns about the cause of the plague that has killed many of the soldiers, so he demands the Achilles. Actually he was the second in commander. This finally makes the Achilles furious over the Agamemnon attack on the personal honor and refuses to participate further in the war. And the Achilles, he was the very angry and the vengeful person in the whole story. And his mother, whose name is Thetis, seek the supreme god Zeus to destroy the Greek who are already losing the battle without Achilles. This finally makes the Achilles furious over the Agamemnon attacks on his personal honor and refuses to participate further in the war. As in the whole story we will see that Achilles is very angry and revengeful person whose mother is Thetis, who seek the supreme god Zeus to punish the Greek who was already losing the war without Achilles, who was the very powerful and the brave empire among all the armies. Okay, so when Achilles has left the war, he sent his friend Patroclus, who was his dearest friend, and he got battle with the Hector, and Hector was another standard person who was a great fighter and a great empire in the story. And finally Hector, who belongs to Troy team, kills the dearest friend of the Achilles, Patroclus, and after knowing the fact that Hector is the slayer of his dearest friend, the Achilles became so violent that he couldn't able to control himself and rushed into the battlefield and finally slay the Hector and dragged his dead body around the battlefield beyond his chariot. And at the last of the story, we will see that Hector's father Priam, who enters the enemy camp and pleads the Achilles to return his son's body to give him a fitting hero's burial. Priam was the fatherhood of the Achilles also, as the episode moves the soul of the Achilles as well as his father. They both share the sorrow of losing a human loss, and they have a dinner together, and they also sleep in the same camp. So basically this was the brief gist of the whole unit, whole block 1, and further we will going to learn about the definition of an epic, characteristics of an epic, as well as. So what do you learn about the definition of an epic? What is epic in actual? So if we go through the unit, we will learn that it is the essential reality of the life that discovers the ultimate truth and to embrace the unit of the human spirit. Whenever we speak about the classics or the classical canon, we refer to literature that stays timeless and universal. Some characteristics are given beyond, such as Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Ramayana was the verses of 24,000 and Mahabharata is divided into 3 verses, that is 8,000, 24,000 and 1 lakh. One is known as Vyasa, Vesampanya, and the other is Ugreva Sati. In the Ramayana, the main protagonist is the Lord Rama. The whole story is revolve around him, and we will learn about Lord Rama in the whole Ramayana. Whereas in the Mahabharata, Lord Krishna and Arjuna are the main participants with the Pandavas. Basically, these are also known as the Itihas. Itihas itself says thus worldly happened. Okay, you have to learn these all the points thoroughly, and these will be the basic and important questions of your exam point of view. So let's learn about the characteristics of an epic. So basically, epic deals with the lofty theme and it considers the main role of the person or a heroic figure in the whole story and its ups and downs and the life behavior, life nature. It tells about all of these episodes. So first point tells us that epic always contain a great man, that would be a king, leader or a warrior or any exceptional merit. Okay, जो epic होता है वो celebrate करते हैं great deeds of the exceptional man, that can be anyone, any leader or any king. Such as we can see in the Ramayana, the Lord Rama was the main hero, and in Mahabharata, Lord Krishna and Pandavas were the main heroes and the main part of the story. Next point says that epic is always large in scale. ये कभी short नहीं होती, हमेशा large in scale होती है. It may be consisted of many verses, many multiples of books, and many large portions are considered in it. Therefore, the epic presents the heroic deals. वो हमेशा हीरो की कुछ qualities explain करता है, जैसे courage, honor, sacrifices, that deals throughout the life of the hero figure. It gives a clear picture of the social and the culture pattern. ये हमें बताता है कि पूरे उस टाइम का कल्चर कैसा हुआ करता था, how the people used to live and what was the nature and behavior of the people at that moment. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट स्टेट्स दैट द एपिक जो होता है वो एक हाई डिग्री ऑफ इमेजिनेटिव पावर होती है. इसमें एक पावर होती है जो इमेजिनेटिव होती है, दैट कांट बी रियलिस्टिक. इन द एपिक देयर इज ऑल्सो एन इंटरवेंशन ऑफ द सुप्रीम power, or we can say supernatural power, that is divine God. Like we studied that god Apollo swept the army with his powers, magical powers, with the cause of plague. Okay, so learners, this was the overlook of the unit number 1, and let me tell you the most important questions that arise from this unit are the story of the elite, second is characteristics of the elite, and third is definition of epic. Okay, so you have to learn this properly or understand properly so that you can write enough sheets of exam at the moment when you are writing. Okay, so I hope learners that you are doing well and studying properly for your exam point of